What's up, nuts and bolts? Welcome back to the Motorcycle Vlogs and another episode on the Suzuki SP600. Today we're going to be working on the exhaust. So one of the last pieces I needed to this puzzle, last parts I needed for this rebuild, was for the exhaust system. Now, pretty much most exhausts that I've seen, typical exhaust, I'm not saying this is a typical exhaust, but there's some sort of gasket right here. What this is, the you could call it the header, I guess. This is where the two pipes go into one. The two pipes coming out of the engine, out of the exhaust ports on the engine, go into one, and then it goes into a single pipe up to the muffler. Well, in order for there to be no exhaust leaks on most, at least old bikes, I think, typically there's some sort of gasket surface that you put on here in between this header and the head of the bike. And that's one of the last things I needed to complete the exhaust. I'm actually adapting a muffler for this thing. The muffler that came on it is just in poor condition. Looks like it was a nice lightweight aluminum muffler at one time, but and I may rebuild it for a later date because it is so light, but I'm just going to go with one I had laying around in the shop, and it's going to hopefully keep it really quiet, which is what I want. I'm already over budget. I'm still under $1,000 for this project, but I had a budget of $875, which is what I sold my last bike for. I've already gone about $30 over that budget. So I was online looking at the gaskets to order for this, and that's gonna set me another $20, $25, $30 by the time it's all shipped to me and everything. So, and they're just, from what I found for this bike, there's about 2 different versions of gasket you can get for it. One of them is copper, and the other one is some sort of like asbestos type material, fire retardant fiber material. So that got me to thinking, and of course the way my cheap mind works is that copper is pretty available and pretty easy to find. So I went down to the hardware store, and got a piece of solid, what is this, 8 gauge? I think it's 8 gauge copper wire, solid wire, unshielded, so it has no coating on it, and basically bent that over a 7/8 socket and made myself a copper gasket. I haven't actually tried it out yet. I gotta make one more because there is 2, and then we're gonna throw it on there and see how it works. Now, the biggest complication with this would be the fact that it has a seam, and I thought about possibly soldering that up to make it solid, which solder is pretty soft too. So the whole reason for the copper, I believe, is that it will resist the high temps. Oh, I'm close. And it's malleable, so when it's compressed in between the 2 seating surfaces, it's going to kind of squish and comply to the shape of the area that it's put into, and as well it's going to kind of squish into all the little imperfections and seal it up so there's no exhaust leaks. But with just cutting it straight across, it butts up pretty well. I don't think I'm going to need to solder up, but if there's too much of an exhaust leak that I notice, then I may take it out and solder it up and then put it back in and try it that way. So yeah, let's make that other one. Okay, so just kind of by scanning my little workbench I got set up here, you can kind of see some of the tools that I'm using to do this. Having some sort of vise is extremely helpful for a lot of different projects. but in this one especially. So just taking the socket, 7/8 socket, vise it up, get in there nice and firm. Now I've already got this curve started on this one because when I made this ring, I just wrapped it around twice and it was coiled like that, and then just cut it off of there and then took those pieces and bent them together to make that ring. So I've already got the start of this bend. But how I started it when it was just a straight piece is just by taking a pair of vice grips, also a very extremely useful tool, and just clamping it on here, and then you just roll it around. But you can end up with a little bit of a straight bit right there at the end, so I'm going to use the part that I've already got curved. This one ended up with a little bit of a straight part right there where I clamped it down. So I want to keep it tight to the socket as I bend it around. Whoops. So I'm bending it past that end there. Even though I want to cut it off so that the ends meet, I want to keep that bend going past it so it's not just coming up to it and I'll have a straight bit right there. So take it past a little bit, unclamp that, and you're left with a little coil. Almost perfect circle. So now I just need to, this is soft enough, I could just take a pair of wire, a good size, good pair of wire snippers, and just cut it off right there. When you do that, when you cut with snippers or something like that, it'll pinch the metal and it'll make a little bevel on either side, so it kind of, you don't get this flat edge. And I want that flat edge so that the two surfaces can meet together and create as little gap as possible. So what I'm using to cut with is just a hacksaw. Flatten off this other one first. Should have done that first. So we'll take this out of here. Throw these jaws back in. I don't know where the screws went for these. I have to find them. My fingers. Clamp it in there pretty firm, but not crank down on it because, again, this is really soft metal, so I don't want to crush it. Alright, here's fair warning, this is going to be loud. So I'm just going to line up the blade off of this edge over here to start my cut. There you are. And I'm just going to take a file. Clean it up. Remember, boys and girls, a file only cuts one direction. That's a pushing direction. So when you're dragging it back like this, you're not cutting anything or grinding anything, or however you want to say it, but you push a file. Same with the hacksaw. supposed to have the blade oriented so that the teeth are facing forward, so that you're cutting when you're pushing. So I'm going to try to file these as flat as I can. And then take off all the burrs and snags and imperfections. Alright, good enough for government work. Alright, so you can see I've got a little twist there and it's gapped. The gap actually ends up because of the thickness of the saw blade, because I'm gauging off of this surface here. The thickness of the blade is in between there, so I have to squish them together a little bit and twist them. So first I'm going to squeeze this until these ends pass each other a little bit, because it's gonna when I twist it this way, I want it to lock together here. So I'm gonna gently spread it again and twist it. Oops. Might have to play with it to get it just right. And when you bolt it down inside of the I can make Olympic rings. No. Yeah, so there's my two gaskets. And when you bolt these down inside, in between the head and the header, they're gonna squish flat anyways. But yeah. So this stick of copper that I got from the hardware store was 69 cents, because that was the price per unit. The smallest unit that they would have is 69 cents per foot, so I bought a foot of it for 69 cents, and that's how much I have left over. That's my two. Let's see, the price before tax, just the listed price for the copper gaskets on the internet was about $6.95 a piece. So 69 cents versus, with tax, with shipping, everything, was about $22, $25. So 69 cents is a lot better if it works. All right, here goes nothing. First, I gotta fight this thing in. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. Oh, it looks like I might be getting good at this. Oh, look what happened. Oh, look at that. That took me about 10 minutes less than the last time I tried this. All right. Now let's try to throw these in there and keep them in there until I get the exhaust buttered up. Fighting gravity too. And I can't see on that side. Yay. Let's see. What if I can get this one started? Yeah. Looks like those might just work. Just might work. Sorry, I'm probably blocking what I'm doing here with my hand, but can't do nothing about it. Got to do what I got to do. I don't know what that was. Don't cross thread. Don't cross thread. Alright, so that didn't work out. What I figured I'm going to do is cheat. Just a little gray gasket maker here. Oh, for engines. Probably not particularly for this kind of heat, but basically what I'm going to use it for, besides the added gasket sealing ability, is just put it on one side and get it to stick up in there. Stay there while I put the exhaust on. And if it burns off, shouldn't be a big deal. because it still has the copper gasket. Get a little dab on there, because a little dab will do you. See if it sticks. Yeah. Stay. Boom. She's in. Well, for now. Oh, damn it. Get in there. Oh, I gotta hurry and get the other one in before that falls out. I should have just put it on both of them and then stuck it in there and put the pipe on. Oh, no. Landed gasket side down. Sticky side down. Okay. Do I need to clean it? No, that's fine. Just need it to stay long enough to get the pipe up. Stay. This is not quick set, that's for sure. Okay. They're both sticking, kind of. I just gotta be quick. Get the pipe up into place before they fall. Ah! Dang it. It's got junk on it. Come on. All right. Oh, that's got it. Whoo! All right, so here's the other end of the pipe right here. Now I got the front end buttoned up. Hopefully that's going to work. I've just got to make a connector pipe from here to my muffler. Muffler I'm using is actually the stock muffler off of my Harley-Davidson Sportster. So that's what I'm going with. It's pretty small and compact, and it's got chrome on it. Woohoo! It weighs quite a bit compared to the muffler that was on here, but I'm hoping it's going to be pretty quiet. It's actually what I want with this, is a quiet muffler. And I like how it's small and compact. So, pipe.